to viewers. Post that. Then we'll hit Twitch. We'll hit our creator dashboard. Looks like my sound seems to be pretty good. I am currently live. Excellent. Okay, stream manager. And then we're going to go to OBS. Alrighty. Ad starting soon. Okay. That's my initial starting ad. Okay, cool. Excellent. Hi, I'm Ray, and we are streaming blacksmithing. Today, we are going to continue working on our set of scrolling tongs. Once again, scrolling tongs are a set of tongs. They have a round jaws so that you can use them to start very small scrolls. So these are round, very similar to needle nose tongs. And so this set was made for me as a demonstration tool by a friend of mine, or to kind of teach me how to make tongs. And I made this set with the demo that he gave me. And this set is really, really ugly. And I want to try again, start again, and get some redemption in there. Make sure that, you know, I can actually make a good set of tongs. Welcome in, everybody. Hello, mahalo. It looks like my ad starts in a couple minutes. So, yeah. So, it's going pretty good. How are you? Today, we're kind of setting up a little bit. It's a lot warmer. In the shop today, it's like 40 degrees, and it's supposed to feel like about 38 or something like that, but it's not too bad. I mean, I still want to have the jacket on, but I'm not like freezing, and I don't have like the heater on or anything like that. So that's great. That means that theoretically we should be able to turn on the press today and get some good shots of that in. Hopefully it will function correctly. Let's move some of these cans of propane out of the way so I'm not tripping over them. So hopefully it will function as long as it's not actually broken, which I don't think it's actually broken. I think that it was a weather thing. Hopefully it'll function perfectly and we'll just be able to continue our project with the press. Doing all right. Excellent. I'm glad to hear that you're doing all right. Some days doing all right is just, you know, how you have to live your life. So it doesn't always get to be great. It doesn't always get to be bad. Sometimes it's just there. So, let's see. So we've got two sides currently of our tongs. We have drawn out the ends or the reins of both sides of the tongs. We're going to end up drawing these out a little bit further as we're going, but I really want to start establishing in the jaws of the tongs, which we have started on the top one right here. We're going to see about making those needle nose ends on the front end so that we can pick up our material and scroll with it. And then after we've completed that, we're going to look at the boss over here. This is the boss section is the area of a set of tongs where the rivet sits and they rotate and they open and close. So we only need so much area for that. So after we get the jaws taken care of, any excess material that we have more than what we need for the boss, we're going to make into more reins. So they'll be a lot longer than this. All right, so first things first, Dang it, I forgot to change my propane before I started the stream. So first things first, we're going to change the propane and then start the forge. I wish I had done this previously, but it was on my agenda, like my to-do part of, you know, pre-stream that I wanted to do before we had I started streaming, but I kind of forgot to do it. So here we are. So this tank is kind of on the empty side, but I brought a brand new tank, so that one should last us for the vast majority of our stream today. We will probably end up changing it, maybe towards the end. Hopefully not, though. So we'll put this over here so it's out of our way. And then we'll set up the new one. What is happening here? There we go. There's a couple pieces of steel down on the floor right next to where the stand for my propane is, and the stand moved around. Always fun. Is this closed? I hope it's closed. It looks like it's closed. Move on me. All right, here we go. Okay. Put this over here. And that is all the way closed. That's all the way closed. Let's open this. All right, looks like we're clear of leaks. So we're doing this during the ad, so I guess that's not too bad. There we go. All right. That is a gorgeous noise. Very glad to hear that one. Okay. So we are going to put this guy in the forge so that we can continue working on the jaws of these scroll tongs. So we're gonna work on this, like the tong end of it. So I've got the door open, like really wide, so we've got lots and lots of ventilation. It's really nice out, so I'm really happy about this. I imagine that eventually I'm gonna lose my coat, and I won't need it anymore because of the heat of the forge and the warmth that it produces. I'm really excited about that because working in this big bulky coat is like absolutely obnoxious. It kind of slows me down, and I can't move properly with it. Let's see. What do we have for today? Like I said, I think that my press should function today. I'm really hoping that it works really well. The last two streams, it hasn't wanted to function correctly. And I think that's because it's just really, really cold. And I'm hoping that it's just because it was a little on the cold side. Remind me, please, what length of bar stock did you start with for these tongs? Okay, so for these tongs, I started with a 5/8 inch long, or like the, you know, square stock, and it's a 6-inch long piece. So I have two identical 6-inch long pieces. And this is way more material than I wanted, than I really need, and I am aware of that. I probably wanted more like a 4 to 5 inch piece. Like I said, I have a lot more material here than I need, because I'll be able to draw this section down like really far if I wanted to. And because we want a specific length for the jaws, we're just going to make up for that on the reins of these tongs. We may actually get to a point where we need to cut these off because they're just too long. But I really wanted to give myself the space to hold on to the material as I am forging it. I like to have a really long, good grip on the material so that it doesn't wiggle around as I'm forging. So yeah, I ended up with a lot more material than I originally wanted. So if you're doing these by hand with smaller tongs, you might start with a 4-inch piece. We're going to end up with a much longer set of tongs. Like the length of the reins is probably going to be more like this long, as opposed to, where did I put my, oh, I put them over here. So this one started with 6 inches of material. This one started with more like, I don't know, 4 or 5 inches. Probably about 5 inches, and it was a lot smaller diameter stock. So this is a much longer pair of tongs than I want to go with. But like I said, I like to have a really nice grip on my material as I'm forging it. 5/8 by 6 inch. Okay, thanks. Yep. So like I said, we are going to start, hopefully, with the press. If it works, we're going to continue working most of the day using the press. If it's not going to work on me for whatever reason, I will finish with hand forging. Hopefully I don't have to do that, because it takes a lot of stamina and effort to do. The press takes a lot of, you know, the load off of me physically, so I'm really hoping that it functions. And I'm sure you can tell I'm a little bit nervous that it's not going to function, but I'm pretty sure that it will. All right. We got a little bit longer to wait before the material is warm enough to forge. I'm gonna put on my apron. I don't really bother with my apron when I have my big jacket on. And the reason why is because the jacket itself kinda has that safety, or, you know, if a piece of material or like scale lands on the coat, it'll just fall off. But that's not, I can't say that about my hoodie or the rest of my clothing. So I need to get the apron on so that it will protect my clothing. All right, there's that. Should be good to go. A little less organized today than I try to be. I'm a little bit scuffy, but, you know, maybe I am about this scuffy every time I do this. I think that's probably more like, you know, more like me. I'm pretty scuffy about this, at least at the beginning. All right, so it looks like we've got plenty of heat for a beginning attempt on the press. So I'm going to take the anvil cam, I'm going to bring it over to the press, and then we will see if it functions today. Hopefully it does. I'd like it to cooperate and be, you know, but sometimes it's really temperamental. So let's see what we can do. All right, theoretically, we should be good to go. The anvil cam, and I believe it's going to be a little bit louder. The sound's going to be a little bit weird. Hopefully it will function correctly and we'll be fine. All right, are you going to be done? In the forge. Apparently my steel wants to be done inside the forge. There we go. I think we're all right. Yeah, we're good. Apologize about that. I will make sure that we take a look at that before we get it out the next time. I think it might be that like I've used it enough that the valves are a little bit on the loose side because there is an excess pressure valve that's on the back of the bottle jack, and it may have twisted open. So that might be the case. I will take a look at it, see if I can't fix that up. Does the air valve on the jack require air tool oil? See, I don't know. Like when I bought that one, like I bought it like 10 years ago or something like that. It might require oil, and that might be the issue. Like I said, I will take a look at it tomorrow or like later on today, and make sure that, you know, if it needs oil, that it gets oiled up. I'll make sure that, you know, I can make sure that valve is closed. But yeah, it seems like something's screwy with it, and I will see what I can do. If I can't fix it up, then we will have to, you know, wait a few weeks in order to get it repaired or replaced. It's probably not worth repairing if I can't do it myself. I didn't spend all that much money on it, but I got to make sure that, you know, the funds are in the budget. So that's all right. That just means that I get to show you how to hand forge a pair of tongs, which is, you know, just as well, because not everybody has presses or power hammers. So I think it's a lot more informative for you guys if I do this by hand. Yeah, it does sound like it is a fiddly thing to work on, unfortunately. So I'll see what I can do, watch some videos, see if I can't, you know, fix it. It's going to be interesting. It's been a long time since I've had to take the bottle jack out of here. So what I end up doing is I've got like, I have ratchet straps that I kind of like, I ratchet it down to the bottom brace after I like bring it all the way down and stuff. So and then when it goes up, I'll be able to like pull it out. So we'll see how easy it is to do that. I will probably have to do that with the hand pump. So yeah, it'll be fun, but we'll fix it. We'll fix it right up. Hello, Eastside Inside. Welcome into the stream. We have just learned that our press is still being finicky, so we're going to continue working on our tongs by hand on the anvil with, you know, with just a hammer. Let me move our camera back to the anvil. And while we're doing that, I'm gonna refresh the clip. I've been a little bit lax on these clips, unfortunately. Come on. You know you want to focus. There it goes. Nice and focused. And are you recording? No, you're not. But now you are. Awesome. Coolies. Let us see. All right. Now that that's taken care of, let's actually go to the anvil cam. From there, we're going to actually move over to the horn, where we're going to get more movement. And we're going to try and even that up a little bit. We're going to go on all four corners. Alrighty. So yeah, let's see. So this weekend was a pretty good weekend. I did a lot of relaxing. I was a little bit tired from Friday's stream, so I spent most of Saturday playing video games. I watched a little bit of Yankee stream World of Warcraft. It was fun because, I mean, I played World of Warcraft for about 5 years. I was pretty addicted to it for a while. It's kind of one of those things where you watch someone else play it and you get the memories back and stuff. It makes me kind of want to play it, but I think I'm not going to pick it up because I'm afraid that if I do, I will get addicted again. And that would probably not be good. So we went, grocery shopping and did a few things, like real life things. We went to the comic book shop and we got some pretty good comic books. I think I got a Saga this week. It was pretty good. That one is by Brian K. Vaughan. It's a really good book. And so I was pretty excited about that. And then on Sunday, we did a little bit more gaming and we walked around a little bit. I had a lot of fun. So yeah, now we are back buckling down, getting into some blacksmithing. I will be, I'm still working on the VOD for the, I'm still working on the edit for the VOD for the bird feeder hanger. I should have that up by the end of this week. I've got to upload the VODs from Friday and today's stream. I'll do that one tomorrow. So look for those on YouTube. If you want to look at, if you have to leave or, looking for something specific there. Let's see, what else have we got going? Yeah, I guess that's probably about it. Looks like we've got plenty of heat, so we're going to continue forging. Yeah, we've got, it is all nice and focused. little dimple in that end of the tong. We want to pull that out. We don't want to see that when we are, because it's going to cause a little bit of issues. Like we're going to end up getting some cold shuts in there, and it'll crack our tongs. We don't want to see that, so the next heat, we're probably going to upset some of that material back inside of itself. Alrighty. It's really good to get back out into the shop. The weekend and relaxing on the weekend is really, really nice, but I really like being back in the shop. It really starts helping me focus my brain. The repetitive motion of the hammer blows and the heat and all the visceral sounds and everything. It really starts, putting things into focus for me. All this like chaos going on in the world at large. Just being in the shop, it's just really, really relaxing for me. And, because blacksmithing is more than just, a job or a stream or whatever. I mean, it's very enjoyable, very relaxing for me too. So I'm really excited to be here sharing the love of my craft with you guys. All right. We need a little bit, I need to get rid of my phone for a moment. That way it's not getting in the way of me sitting down. Need a little bit more heat for our project. So while we wait, I guess I will just sit here and answer any questions you guys have, or, talk about what you guys did this weekend and that sort of thing. But yeah. Looks like... All right, we should be good. Those can go there. I guess that'll go back in my pocket. So you started playing WoW for the anniversary, huh? Yeah, I thought about doing that too. Whoops. I did not change my view. I'm so sorry, guys. Yeah, I thought about going to the anniversary and like playing in the anniversary for a while. But I guess I'm a little bit afraid of retail. Retail, wow, some of the people are really like nasty and mean. You know, like in dungeons and stuff like that. And I was really not looking forward to seeing them. So I eventually ended up, you know, foregoing that. Yeah, I can't do retail. Hi, Yankee. Welcome in. Yeah, I played a lot of retail, you know, for a while. I even went back for retail during, what was it? The one where you end up dying and going to like the underworld. So not the expansion that's currently going, but the one or two before this one, I think. Because like the last one was the dragons, and I played the expansion before that. And yeah, it was fun for a while until I decided that I wanted to get back into raiding, and I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. I got a character there too. Yeah, the Hardcore Anniversary server. What is that? Is it just like, is like the anniversary server different than the regular hardcore servers, or is it just like, you know, it's just the hardcore servers? Dead is dead in vanilla. Oh, okay, yeah. So it's kind of like when you die, you just don't, you can't res, right? That's what the hardcore servers are. Okay, cool, yeah. The original vanilla with no expansions. Yeah, that makes sense. I feel like that would be a lot of fun, but I don't know how far I would be able to get with it because I love playing Night Elves, and it's like I'm obsessed with Night Elves. So like my main was always a Night Elf hunter, but I never wanted to play in the Night Elf zones. So like I always did, you know, the wetlands to, you know, Elwyn Forest run. And that would be so dangerous on a hardcore server. I don't know that I would make it very far. Because I mean, on like the original like vanilla servers, when we did that, we were constantly just dying, and we would just like continue on, and like we would like do res sickness at the like anytime we resed or you know re-released and ended up at a further spawn point, we would just take the red sickness and just run some more. So yeah, I don't know that I do very well unless I actually like played in the Night Elf zones. Man, everything is dangerous. I mean, it is. It definitely is. But I mean, Hunter, I feel like I would have a fighting chance as long as I stayed inside the Night Elf realms, or I mean the zones. Because I mean, I'm no okay with killing my pet to survive myself, you know? I mean, that sounds pretty cruel, you know, but I mean, it's just a digital pet, you know? It's like pixels. So, yeah, there was a long time where I would just like, you know, let the pet die, and I'd just like shadow meld, or I'd like feign death or something, and then the enemy would just go away. It would like, you know, leash back or whatever. So we are on ad time. So I'm going to wait until the ad is done, and then we'll do another heat. Hopefully we can clean up what we've done with the angle grinder. We took out the little dimple in there, and hopefully we'll be able to, you know, continue with our drawing out and making it skinnier. Like I said, we don't want to add much more length we want to just continue to reduce the height and width of that stock. So it looks like we have another 30 seconds of ads. When that is going, I'm gonna flip my clips. And if I can figure out, I can see. Okay, so that one's flipped. Now let's flip this clip. Awesome. All right, cool. Easy, easy. I can keep track of things. All right. Back over to the horn. Oh, yeah. Much better. Alright, and I'm going to look in that area where the hole was. It looks like we've taken really nice care of it. So once again, the reason that we took out that dimple was so that we didn't accidentally create a bubble inside the jaws of these tongs, because that will create cracks in there and they won't be useful for very long. I want these tongs to be useful for a long time. Alrighty. So we are continuing with that. It looks like we've got just plenty of a length for the jaws of those tongs. So now what we're really trying to do is create a point on the end of them. I do need to take them down a little bit further. They're a little bit too fatter than I would like, because really what we're trying to make is a nice set of tongs that we can use for making vine work on our leaves, so that we can make really curly vines or like ends on the leaves and things like corkscrews and stuff like that. So we want things to be really fine with really sharp points. Well, not too sharp, like you know, murder someone sharp, but you know, tight enough that we can get really, really skinny little scrolls if we want them. So yeah, that is our goal. And then from there, we will isolate out the boss area by lengthening out our reins. We are going to add our second piece into the fire so that it can start heating up as well. Because what we're going to be doing is once we get that nice point in there, we are going to want to create the same shape on the second side. So we've got really, really symmetrical tong sides. So once we get one job done, then we'll be able to mirror that and use the same motions and the same muscle memory that we used for the first one to make the second one. That way it makes it a lot easier than if we made the entire thing on, or like the entire half, and then tried to make an entire other half. It would be a little bit weird because it's a lot easier to, you know, eyeball the lengths and the measurements when you are making them together organically than if you were to do it individually. So yeah, I haven't played WoW in several years now. But like I said, I really liked playing it. But I was obsessed with Night Elves, and I know that's one of those things where it's like, you know, pretty girls and like, you know, pretty flouncy, you know, characters, and people who want to call their characters Legolas and like elves and stuff. I know, it's the stereotype. But I really liked them. I really liked the shadow meld racial, and that was my excuse. I drew a lot of threat when I played my hunters. I did a decent amount of damage, and a lot of tanks could not handle me, so that extra shadow meld was really amazing. Right now I'm playing SWTOR, which is Star Wars The Old Republic. I run a role-playing guild over there, so I'm playing D&D-esque role-play inside of the Star Wars game. It's a Star Wars-themed role-play. I think it's a lot of fun. We found a lot of really cool people by doing that, and it's been a lot of fun. I've been doing a lot of PvE, too. The game really reminds me of vanilla WoW, like before they started putting in the weird patches. So it's been pretty good. Nice. Yeah, so I kind of retired from hardcore raiding a while back. I just got really tired of the attitudes of people. A lot of people, you get into the high tier raids and everybody's like, you are my slave, or you know, you are an NPC for me to control. If you are not playing exactly how I think you should play, I'm gonna yell at you or kick you from my team. And I just really didn't like that, so I kind of retired. Yep, I played the SWTOR class storylines. They are so cool. The the class storylines for SWTOR, they're so well done. Like the vanilla game stories. My favorite is the Imperial Agent storyline. It is so cool. It's like playing James Bond in space. It's very Star Wars-esque. You really feel like a spy. My second favorite is actually the Sith Warrior storyline, but I don't like playing an evil Sith. I always want to pick the light side choices. So I have a goody two-shoes Sith that tries not to kill people. And I find that a lot of fun. A little bit more fun than, you know, going the traditional, I'm gonna murder everyone and destroy all of the things. But I do play mostly on the Republic side, which is kind of like, you know, the good guy side. So my RP guild is over there, and so we play a bunch of smugglers and Jedi and stuff like that. It's a lot of fun. All right. less rusty. So I think that, you know, starting small and working on very basic projects has really been starting to brush up on my hammer work and my precision. So I'm really happy with that. That's going to make it a lot easier to do more complex projects later on in our streaming career. We'll be able to do something a little bit more elaborate soon. So for our next project, after we're done with these scroll tongs, is we're going to make a full set of silverware. A fork, a spoon, a knife, and I think we're going to do a sharp knife. So that should be a lot of fun. From there, I think I'm going to do a set of general purpose tongs so that we don't have two sets of tongs back to back. I think it would be a little bit boring to do that. And so I think that if I make the silverware in between the two sets of tongs, that might be really interesting to see. All right. Tongs is a really nice project that a lot of people like to see me do. So is silverware. Silverware is a really good demo piece for Renaissance fairs and stuff like that. A lot of people, they use, you know, when they're reenacting, they use like the wooden tools. I think it's a lot easier for people to get a hold of wooden spoons and knives and forks and stuff like that. I think that I think that it's a little bit easier to put the templates together. A lot less people are able to blacksmith those. So when I do a lot of those demos, it's a fan favorite. So I'm really looking forward to getting those done and working on them, showing you guys how to do those. My favorite part of that is actually the forks. It's really interesting for me to do those because you've got to kind of like make yourself a little spatula-esque shape, and then you got to use then you have to use a chisel and kind of separate the two tongs for the forks. There are two-sided or two-tonged forks and three-pronged forks, and I usually do two prongs. It's a little bit easier to do for a demo purposes or a blacksmith or like a beginner's blacksmith. So I think that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do a two-pronged fork instead of a three-pronged. Trying to work on the back end of this guy to kind of even out the jaws of this tong. I think the next thing that we really need to do is kind of like start that second version of them. I think that I want to, I think for the next, what we're going to do next is we're going to create the other jaw of the other side. And the reason we want to do that before we round it out is because we're going to gain a little bit of length as we take the corners off. And I really want these two to be identical. So I think that's the next step. So this guy I'm going to put him over on, actually I think I'm going to quench him. And then we'll start on the other one. So I've got my quench bucket back here, but it is frozen. That's always a blast. I got a giant piece of ice as a quench bucket. So there's like not a lot of, you know, water in there. So I only actually was able to quench about this amount. So I guess I'll just put it on a cooling area because I don't want to, you know, lose it. we'll shuffle this a little bit. That material out at the end. And I gotta be really careful that we don't end up developing another dimple in there. So as we go, we're gonna keep a close eye on that center of the square, so that, yeah, because we want to make sure that we don't end up closing in a bubble in there. And we definitely don't want to see a crack. Alrighty. It's a little warmer over by the forge than it is over in this area. I haven't turned on the other, or like the heater down here. I'm wondering if I should. I mean, I like not having my coat on, but I feel like there's maybe wind coming through the breezeway and it's coming through the door. It's starting to get a little chilly, so I'm debating whether I want to put my coat back on or turn on the heater. I might spend more time debating. So, let's see. I've played a lot of other video games too. Most of my video games are MMOs. I tend to play those a lot more. I like to play with a lot of different people, and I don't have a lot of like real life friends that play the same games as me. So it's really nice to be able to just go hop into an MMO and queue up for like a dungeon and, you know, have some fun killing some stuff. So recently, a couple other games that I've been playing Throne and Liberty, or I had played Throne and Liberty when that first came out. Played that for a couple months. Before that, I was playing, let's see, I played a little bit of Final Fantasy 14. That one's kind of weird. I wasn't as fond of that one. There's just so much story, and it's more like talking heads. There's a lot less combat in that one, and I really, really like pressing buttons. So I played that one for a little while. What else did I play? I played Elder Scrolls Online for many, many years. I played that one for about 9 years, and yeah. So I don't play it anymore. They haven't really added too much material, like more quests and stuff. Since I left, and I left probably 3 years ago. So they've had a couple different expansions, but just not quite enough material that I, you know, just really want to go back to that game. I'm going to turn this on. That should help a little bit. Let's see. a little bit back on itself, but that should fix that right up. If we catch it early like this, then it won't be nearly as big of a deal. We won't actually have to pull out the angle grinder. So the plan for the rest of this project is going to be, we are working on the jaws today. I'm hoping that we can get both of those completed. From there, we are going to spend what's left of today and probably most of Wednesday lengthening out the reins of our tongs. So that we can really isolate out the boss section. Once we've got that taken care of, and it may take both Wednesday and Friday, depending on how quickly I can get that done. So then on that Monday, I'm planning on, really working hard on the boss section, making sure that it is, or on both sides, that it is, equal and symmetrical. And then on the rest of Monday, we're going to begin drawing or creating the hole for the rivet. So then on Friday, we're going to do the other rivet hole. Those are going to be punching, or we're going to punch the holes as opposed to drilling them. So we will be able to use round punches. Oh, there is I live really close to a fire station, and so a fire truck just drove past. So yeah, we're going to focus on doing, next week we're going to focus on doing the holes and riveting them together. So I'm really looking forward to that and having a finished set of tongs. So the goal is for 6 streams. So we are on stream 3. So hopefully we will be about halfway done by the end of today. If not, we might end up doing an extra couple streams. Making great progress with just the hammer. Yeah, I try. I think a lot of this is attributed to the dwarf iron blacksmith last Monday. He reminded me that using the horn, you end up getting a lot more movement when you're using the horn to draw instead of the flat of the anvil. So, yeah. Thanks to that advice, we're getting a lot more movement than I have in the past. So I'm really excited about that. It's been working really, really well. Thank you, Dwarf Iron Blacksmith. So yeah. I don't know that we'll, I know that we will probably we might add a day or two to this whole project because of the punching of the holes. Wow. Yeah, because it takes me a little bit longer to punch holes than it probably should because I'm really, really careful when I first start a hole. Probably too careful. I lose a lot of heat. So I will probably end up adding another day or two. But I only because I am overly concerned about, about being careful, and less about because I'm using a hand hammer instead of the press. So I'm actually pretty happy about that. Hello, JDN Fox. Hey, hey. I see that we are now in an ad section, so I will probably just stand here and shoot the shit, talk a little bit about, randomness before, so that the ad will finish before we get back to hammering, because I want to make sure that everybody gets to see the hammering and the bright, shiny, glowing metal. I think that's a fair way to, assessment and stuff. So, yeah. I'm really happy with the progress that we've made on these tongs. I think they're going really, really well. I've come a long way from the amount of time I've come a long way from my very first project, or my very first project of tongs. So I know that this set will be a lot more pretty than the first set, and it'll be a really good way to be able to tell how much more skill I have than when I first began. So that's really exciting. It'll kind of be like a before and an after. So hopefully they look a lot more like this and a lot less like this when I'm done. Alrighty. So let's see. So yes, hello. Jalion Fox. I probably butchered that and I apologize. Nice. It's always fun to see, or to go back and remake early stuff. Yeah, I mean, that's how you can tell how far you've come in your progress for any sort of art, because when you first begin stuff, you're really crappy at it, and because you don't know what you're doing, and the more you do it, the more practice. It's like practice makes perfect and stuff like that. So, I am not as good at streaming, but as we keep going, I keep getting better and better. We've increased the quality of the stream quite a bit. So now we have to work on me and you guys. Maybe coming up with a better script, or like paying attention to what I'm like trying to say, because I have a tendency to like ramble on and say ums and ahs a lot. I'm working on it, and I'm getting better. And you guys are helping a lot. Right in the center there. And the reason that is because the outside of this material is hotter than the inside. So as all of the material is moving, the outside is moving faster than the interior. And so it's probably because I'm not letting it soak quite as long as I need it to do. So we need to get rid of this dimple, and we'll use the angle grinder to do that. The reason that we need to do that is because if we go really thin and point out this piece, we will kind of capture air inside there. And as we continue working, and even when these are finished and I'm using them around the forge, the constant temperature changes, the hot to cold to hot to cold. It's going to end up cracking the end of that. We want to make sure that these tongs last a really long time, so we really need to correct them. So this time, I'm going to change the camera so that you guys can actually kind of watch me do this. Alright, so we captured that. I'm going to move the camera so you guys can see me do this. Alright, now I need to move all of my stuff, because I'm going to be throwing some sparks. Ugh. Grab the angle grinder again and plug that in. Always use a mask. Alright, so we got rid of that dimple, and that was the goal. So now we have a nice flat surface and no dimple, and we'll be able to continue decreasing the width and the height of this piece. I love sparklers. Yeah, it's a lot of, it's really cool seeing the sparklers come off of from the angle grinder. A lot of times when, you know, the hot and the cold, it'll start developing scale, and the hotter the the piece gets in the forge when I bring it over to the anvil. Sometimes I get some sparks coming off of the hammer as the scale starts exploding off. It happens specifically, or it happens a lot more when I'm doing forge welding, because I have to put flux over the two pieces that I'm trying to forge weld together, and that flux will go on, or it'll set itself on fire, and so it'll sparks everywhere because it's just burning. It's burning flux, and that's why I have to be really careful about where I am doing forge welding, which is why I do it outside and not in the shop, because I definitely don't want to burn it down. The shop in here, it can handle the sparks from like grinders and the welder, but it really can't handle the burning flux from the forge welding. When you are, yeah, because like when you're welding two pieces of metal together using a forge, you get it up to like really, really hot temperature, and you use a flux, which is a 21 team borax. It's like you can get it in your laundry aisle. It's kind of weird. I'm not even sure why it's used for laundry. Maybe it's for like keeping laundry a little fresher for longer, or maybe it's like a fabric softener type thing. I'm not sure exactly what it's used for laundry. Anyway, so when you use the flux, it keeps all of the oxygen and stuff out of the weld so that it'll set perfectly, and there's no like nasty scale to kind of crack that weld. You'll get a much more secure weld that way. Alrighty, let's see. Give it a little bit more time. Like I said, I don't want to develop another dimple in there. So if I let it soak in there for a little bit longer, I should be able to increase the heat in the center of the piece. Like I said, there's a little bit more heat along the outside edges and then inside of the metal. So I just need to let it soak a little bit longer so that the outside doesn't grow faster than the inside. I never figured out the chemistry of borax as laundry detergent either. Yeah, I don't know. I really don't understand why you would use it for laundry. I guess I could probably ask my mom or like, look it up online. I just never really paid that close of attention. But there's a lot of like weird cleaning supplies that I use for metalworking, in different types of metalworking, that I really don't understand the cleaning value of. Like when I'm doing casting, a lot of times what I will do is I will use Murphy's oil soap. It is an oil-based, like I think it's for hardwood floors maybe. It's like a mopping solution maybe. I'm not entirely sure how it works either, but it's a really good, it's really good for making sure that your pieces don't stick when you're making molds of them. So if you make a multiple part mold of something, you paint it up with Murphy's oil soap, and your molds will come apart and your piece will come out. So it's always, interesting to kind of have a different perspective on things that people like normally use for something entirely different. And borax is one of those things for me. All right, we've got plenty of heat inside the middle. hammering on all 4 quarters. It's gonna make it a lot easier to handle. All right, let's see. I wanna compare and contrast the two. So let's see if I can find, here, let me just put this guy here, and I will grab the other piece with the same set of tongs. All right, so it looks like we have a lot more length over on this side, but we've got a lot more girth on this side. So I think we're still working pretty well. Push that back just a little bit. Yeah, I think we're making really good progress. I'm really liking that. So we've got a few more heats to go on that section. And then we will be ready to continue lengthening out and isolating the boss section. Or lengthening out the reins and isolating the boss, or the lengthening the reins and isolating the boss section. So yeah, we're making good progress and I'm really excited about it. So I have been kind of debating on what kind of stock that I want to use for our silverware for our next project. There's a part of me that wants to do 1/4-inch stock because it starts out a lot thinner and I will have less to draw out to make the handles. But I'm also kind of like, that leaves me with a lot less material for the bowl of the spoon and like the tines of the fork. So I'm also considering doing 5/8-inch stock, just like littler sections of it, maybe like I don't know, maybe like a 4-inch section of it instead. I think that still will make me a really, really long set of silverware. I'm not entirely like convinced that I need it to be that long, but we'll see when the time comes. I think there's a part of me that really wants to do the 5/8-inch stock because I think it'll be a much better challenge, and I think the end product will be a little bit better looking. So the difference, let's see. So this is a nice piece of 1/4-inch stock, and this is a piece of 5/8-inch stock, right? So you can definitely tell the difference in the girth of these two pieces, right? So these are both from my stock bins over there. But yeah, if I start with a smaller section of this, then I can get a lot more length and skinniness out of that drawdown, but I still get plenty of material up here for like the bowl of the spoon and like the tines on that fork. And I'm a little bit concerned if I use the 1/4-inch stock, I just won't have enough material for the bowl and the tines. So there's a part of me that's like, well, why don't you just, heat up the section of 1/4-inch stock and put it in the vise, and then I could upset a thicker section on the end and create the tines and the spoon out of, or like the bowl for the spoon out of that. And that seems like a decent idea, but I'm also kind of like, I won't have to upset any material if I use this. It's just going to be a lot more effort when I'm drawing down the handles. So I haven't quite decided which process I want to use. You could use both, and they're both valid processes. So I think I just need to, make my design first, and then from, the design that I create, then maybe I can, or it'll give me a little bit more clarity on which size stock to use. So I'm hoping. All right. Alrighty. So yeah, I've been really thinking about the fork and the spoon, but I think I also need to think really hard about the knife. The knife, for a butter knife, they tend to be a lot longer than your typical pocket knife. So you really need a lot of material that you can like flatten down into, you know, that knife shape, the really broad section, so that you could really butter your toast with it and stuff. So yeah, I've been mulling that over, and like I said, I think the best course of action is probably going to straight up design the pieces themselves, and then kind of really start thinking carefully about, you know, the processes that I need to get the design that I want. If we're doing a really, really skinny area for like the handles, then maybe using the 1/4 inch stock might be, you know, really good. But if we want thicker handles, you know, then the 5/8 inch might be good. A butter knife may need to reach the bottom of a peanut butter jar. Yeah, you really want that length so that you can, you know, you don't have to get peanut butter, you know, on your fingers as you're scooping in the bottom out of there. You know, like the very last edge is towards the bottom of the container, or like, you know, with butter too, you know. So there is one other thing that I have also been kind of thinking about. So the material that I normally use for all of our projects, it is 1019 mild steel. And that's a low carbon steel, so it's a really malleable and it's easy to forge with. It's the same type of steel that you would get from rebar at your local hardware store. So it's really, really good for blacksmithing, but it's really, really bad for food safe material, or like it's not really a food safe material. So in order to, you know, make them usable, it means that I have to do a lot of extra work to maintain them. So you would have to, you know, kind of use beeswax on the, you know, the silverware set. And so I'm kind of thinking, you know, do I actually want to use 1019 mild steel, or do I want to use stainless steel? Stainless steel is a lot easier to keep food safe. It does not promote rust nearly as easily as your, you know, the 1019 does. Usually it's dishwasher safe. It's normally what, you know, store-bought silverware is made out of. And I do have one section of square stock. It's kind of a thicker set of, or like it's a kind of a thicker piece of square stock, similar to the 5/8 inch square that we've been using. I think it actually might be a little bit on the thicker side than even that. I did buy it to make some silverware, but it's a really hard to kind of use. Stainless steel does not hold heat nearly as long as mild steel, so you have to get it hotter and to work it, and the heat just like comes out of it and gets sucked up into the anvil and the hammer just so much faster. So there's a lot more time in the forge and a lot less time on the anvil. So I really gotta pay, or, you know, kind of think about if I want to do that. Stainless is a lot harder to work though. Yes, yeah, like I said, stainless is so much harder to work. And because like if you work it too long, then you're liable to crack it, or it just won't move. So it's kind of like I have the material. It's already in the shop. I don't have to go out and buy it. It's also very much more expensive. But yeah, it's kind of like, what is the goal of this project? Is the goal of this project going to be making a usable set of silverware, or is it just to make a pretty set of silverware? So is it like, am I going for form or function, or am I going for both? And I think figuring out what I want to do with that is going to really inform the project. Sections of steel for that, the opening and the closing, the round section there. So I'm actually really liking that a lot. So the next thing I think we're going to do is we're going to start isolating out the boss. So what I think I'm looking for is kind of a shorter section. So we might actually cut it off about here and draw all of the rest of this down into the reins. Because if I make it a little bit shorter than what I wanted, then when I flatten it out, because we need to flatten out the boss area so that the two pieces can kind of fit together a little bit better. You can kind of see in that set of tongs, or a little bit better in this, you kind of like have a little shelved area where this is really a lot skinnier. So we've got a nice shelf here. So that the entire set of tongs has a similar profile width from here to here. So that when we flatten that out, it's going to give us a little bit more length. So if we make this a little bit shorter than we wanted, then we'll add that length when we go to flatten that out. Inexperienced curiosity here. Might it be easier to work with stainless in the summer when the ambient temperature is warmer? I also have a question. What's unsafe about eating iron oxide? What is unsafe about eating iron oxide? I mean, rust, right? I mean, I kind of feel like tetanus. Tetanus is probably the, something that you probably don't want to, experience. The reason that you want to make sure that you are, very much oiling up your, knives, or like your the high carbon knife materials, or keeping beeswax on some of the stuff that you're making from, the mild steel, is because you definitely don't want to get tetanus from your cooking utensils or from the utensils that you're using to eat. So I hope that answers your question. Okay, so would it be easier to use the stainless in the summer? And I mean, maybe. Yeah, the ambient temperature is really going to suck the heat out of the material, but I mean, really, it's not going to actually suck that much ambient, or like the heat out from the ambient temperature as you might think. I mean, you're still adding the friction from, the hammer, so you're going to maintain that heat a little bit longer with the friction from the molecules of the steel, like squishing and shaping into form. So, I mean, yes, in all technicality, it would be a lot easier, and you would get a little bit more time to work in the summer, but I don't know that it is that much more time or more efficiency. So, I mean, as we go, our anvil, our hammer heats up. So, I mean, you get less heat seep from that. And there's a few, it's just, I don't know. It's, in all technicality, yes. But in practicality, I don't know that it makes that much of a difference. Alrighty, so we are in ads, so I'm gonna flip my clips again. And we are good to go with those. Alrighty. How long have we been streaming? Oh, we've been streaming for about an hour and a half. So we've got, a good hour to go. So we'll make some really good progress. Hopefully that we could get, the amount of progress that, like, we only really need to, like, work on the boss a little bit on Wednesday so that we can start, I would really like to start punching the holes. If I can do that, I would love to start punching the holes on Wednesday. So that is my goal, is to, be able to at least start punching the holes by Wednesday. And then maybe we'll finish by Monday. That would be absolutely amazing. That was the goal originally when I decided that I was going to, or when I thought that I was going to be using the press. So I think we might actually start the new project on Friday, though. I'm going to plan on the silverware starting on Friday. Wow, that commercial break felt like it flew by. Wait, are the cameras on different audio channels left and right? Okay, so I have two different audio systems right now. So I have a lav mic that's sitting on me right here. You could probably see the little magnet. I have it hidden in my clothes. This guy is only the left channel for whatever reason. I have a second one that's only the right channel, and I don't have a way to split it into right and left stereo channels without my editing software, because I just haven't figured out how to do that within OBS. If you guys have an idea on how to do that, or if you guys know how to do that, let me know and I will try my best to figure that stuff out. But on this guy, so this guy is feeding directly into the wide camera, and then when I switch to my anvil camera, I'm running a shotgun mic on the top of the camera. So that guy should theoretically be pumping out stereo sound. So I have both of the cameras like recording sound or ambient sound. And that's what's pumping into OBS right now. So when I edit it together into YouTube, I should be able to pump out stereo sound in theory. So if that probably answers that question. Hopefully it's not too jarring. I'm doing the best I can with my sound, but this is the solution that we've come up with for the moment. I really thought that by using the capture card, this guy over here, that I would just be able to feed my lav mic directly into the switcher card and then figure out a way to pump that out to the stream in stereo and have it split the two sides into right and left, but I haven't been able to find that out. I need to watch some videos on OBS, I think. Because I'm hoping that there's a way to do that. I have not found it yet. I've been looking through the menus. I've spent like probably 6 hours on this problem, and I just cannot find a solution with my limited amount of knowledge. So I apologize. I'm still working a little jank. Yeah, I hope it's not too bad. All right. Definitely going to end up cutting these off at the end because they're just starting to get a lot longer than I want them to be. But I felt like if I was holding them, it was a little, they're kind of wobbly. So the more material I have, the less wobbly they are in the tongs. So I'm doing my best there, but this is a lot of extra material that I don't need. Sorry, there's a weird smell, and I'm trying to make sure that it is the oil heater and not like a fire somewhere. So I don't see any actual fire. It seems like maybe the oil heater is like smelling weird. It does kind of give off a weird smell. But I don't see any fire. We're good. Alrighty. So I think we're making pretty good progress. Like I said, the boss is still a lot too long. So we are going to work on shortening that up and making sure that it is nice and tight and well defined. And it may end up that I use a different set of tongs, one that are a little bit more secure. And that's probably what I'll end up doing. Well, yeah, if we see some fire where it shouldn't be, yeah, it's definitely a risk. I have 2 fire extinguishers in here, both charged and ready to go in case a fire does break out in here. Like I said, it is a risk, but it is, you know, something that I'm always vigilant over. Anytime I smell any sort of weird smell, or hear a weird sound, I'm always like looking around for it because I need to be very aware of everything that's happening in the shop just to make sure that everything is safe and, you know, I'm not gonna set anything on fire or injure myself. I have a rule in the shop that I have not actually had to implement since I started streaming, which is amazingly good. Where I have a 3 strikes and you're out system, right? So if I make 3 grave errors that are that cause me to have to back up steps in my project, that injure me, or that, you know, like cause damage to the shop, I immediately shut off the forge, I shut everything down, and I go in the house, because at that point I know that I am either too tired to continue, you know, my brain is not in the right, you know, headspace for forging, or, you know, it's just my way of trying to keep myself, you know, safe and my shop intact. So it's definitely something that I recommend for people who are doing, you know, forging, or like anything that has a sense of inherent danger in it. Yeah, that's a pretty good rule. Yeah. And I mean, I have, like I said, I have not actually had to implement that rule since I started streaming, and that's really good, because there are times where I come out here and I will be forging for like an hour and I will have already struck out. And it's because, like, you know, you get stressed out sometimes. You're just really tired, you know, any number of reasons. Stressed out, thinking about way too many things, and, you know, if you're damaging yourself, the property that you're on, or, you know, ruining work that you need to get done, it's better just to leave. It's just, you know, you're gonna come back the next day with a much fresher head, a much, you know, much better situation, because you took that day to rest and to refresh your faculties. So I definitely, I am a proponent for the 3 strike and you're out rule. So if that ever happens, you know, I will let you guys know. 3 strikes and you're out, and I apologize if that ever happens. You know, we'll shut down the forge and maybe we'll do some talking, you know, some like just chatting stuff. But it's kind of like, it's always going to be one of those take it as it comes. You never know until like what mental state you're in until the time, you know. So, true story. Fatigue is no one's friend. Yeah, I mean, and it's kind of, I feel like that should be in like a lot of heavy machinery jobs too. It's like, you know, if you're not in the headspace, it's so dangerous to just plow through and do it anyway, you know? So that is my rule. And if it ever comes up, I'll let you guys know. You guys have actually helped me with that too. Sometimes I get so frustrated, I start like throwing things, and that's an automatic out. When I start getting so frustrated, I throw things. Yeah, we've already reached 3 strikes at that point. Yeah. I do think that I need to change my tongs though. These guys are a little bit, I feel like it's too loose inside these tongs, so I think that I'm going to change what tongs I use today. Let's see if I can get these in here without burning myself. There they go. Maybe we'll use these guys. These guys might be a little better. See if they work better for this one. This is the same size stock, so. Theoretically, I should be able to pick it up. Okay, is this hot? Has this actually cooled down? Yes, it has. Awesome. All right, these should be much better. Yeah, we'll use these tongs. So yeah, I'm actually pretty happy with the progress that we've made. We've gotten, you know, pretty decent amount of work. We kind of completed our, you know, our tong section, or like the jaw section, and they're a little bit on the, they're going to be a little bit on the long side. So I think, like I said, I'm probably going to cut them off, maybe around here. We're definitely getting a lot more length than we want, so we'll see how that goes. We will play it by ear. It's my... Here, let me pull the mic out of my... Okay, there we go. That works. Much better. I have a tendency, my t-shirts are like really thin material, and so as I go, or like as I forge, the mic kind of like shifts back and forth, and so I have to kind of adjust that occasionally so that you know, I don't have or my shirt doesn't muffle the mic. Alrighty. Let's see. These tongs should be much, much better. Yeah, much more secure. I'm really happy with that. than we're really wanting for this particular piece. So these are our template that we're looking at, and like I said, we probably got maybe an inch, inch and a half further than we really want. I'm okay with the length of this boss right now, but I would rather it be this length after I have already reduced it by half. So what I need to do is I need to continue the taper all the way to about this mark here, right over here, and then that will allow me to, you know, get the amount of movement I need in that boss for the next section. So we're working through the problem. Working through the problem. But that's really the only way to go. You can design all you want, but you're going to come up with like issues that you did not anticipate as you continue forging your projects. You could reduce that just by like repetition and repeatedly making the same pieces. But I mean, when you're making like custom one-of-a-kind stuff, you're constantly being forced to kind of problem solve. So yeah, this piece is, you know, it's going to be fun. I feel like part of being an artist is problem solving. If you can't problem solve, then you're probably not going to be a very good artist, because things rarely go as you anticipate. I mean, even like engineering, where everything is math and like science, and everything is supposed to have a right answer. But I mean, in practicality, in the real world, things just happen, and there's really no explanation for them sometimes. So you have to be able to be flexible in the mind to you know, be able to overcome problems and issues that you inevitably come across in all of your art. So, yep. It's a good exercise, keeps your brain sharp. Alrighty. So I'm thinking that we're probably going to be able to finish this half today. And then what we will do is we will start working on our second half on Wednesday. And once that's finished, we will cut both sides off on the chop saw and finish up the end of those reins. So yeah, I'm hoping that that is, you know, a relatively simple project. My only issue is that my new setup, I have dummy batteries for each of my cameras, and the plug for my anvil cam is a little bit close to my chop saw. So I think I'm gonna have to come up with a different solution for that so that I will be able to use the chop saw whenever I need to. Chop saws are very important in blacksmithing. At least if you want to be, you know, modern and speedy. You can actually cut things off with a cutoff, a hardy tool, or you can use a chisel, but it's a lot faster just to use a chop saw, and so I like doing that. So this is the case for my my lav mics, and it is magnetic. And any magnet in a blacksmith shop is going to get covered in like metal filings, so I have to clean it off every once in a while. Alrighty. this area down, this area right here down a little bit further. And then we're gonna start really isolating in this boss area. And in order to do that, what we're gonna do is we're gonna come to the front of the anvil, and we're gonna hammer directly down over the corner of this anvil to kind of push this material upward and give ourselves a little shelf where we want that boss to come in. It might be a little bit easier to turn the whole thing around and do that from the front of the anvil instead of the back. So we might do it that way, but if we do it that way, then we'll have to use the universal tongs. We'll swap the tongs again, and that should work pretty well. It's always handy to have lots and lots of different sets of tongs. That way you always have, you know, a secure grip on the pieces of hot metal. So I'll put those over there so they're really, you know, handy and I'm able to get a hold of them when I need them. Shadow Lurker bot just followed me. Okay. It looks like that is a bot, so that's always fun. Being followed by bots. I mean, I suppose I can use them as long, or, you know, I can use the views as long as they don't start posting icky things all over the chat. I would rather not have to, you know, moderate that much spam. So we'll have to ban them if they get too rowdy. Yep. All right, and we've got ads coming up here very shortly, so I think I will wait until those are done, and then after that, we will do our next heat. Let's refresh our... Alrighty. And I think I'm gonna do about, you know, maybe 15 to 20 more minutes of streaming today. I don't know that I want to stream the entire 30 or next 30 minutes because I always get a little bit, I don't think it's fair to end on ads. I always think that that's like, you know, kind of sleazy. Just adding that like little extra bit of ads at the end just to get like a little bit more money. I don't want to do that. Oh, it's your alt, not a bot. Oh, okay. Well, thank you for following me on your alt. Yeah, I was not certain. The name kind of made me think that it was a bot. But thank you for the follow then. If it's your audit or if it's your alt account. Yeah, I will take anybody's followers. Like I said, or anyone's follows. Like I said, I don't mind, you know, as long as there's not nasty spam everywhere, you know? So yeah, Jaden Fox, thank you very much for the follow. And I will thank you again when the ad is done, in case that you don't have Turbo. Or I guess it's not Turbo, is it? I think Discord is Turbo. What is it? Twitch. I'm not sure what Twitch's premium sub is. Yep. Let's see. What else can we talk about? We have a few things that we can talk about. It looks like the propane tank seems to be holding out pretty well. That's always fun, and it's always good. Yeah, thank you again, Shadow Lurker Bot. It said Jailden Fox. It's your alt account. Thank you so much for the extra follow. I'm sorry, it kind of I thought it was a bot because the username, it has like bot in it. So I apologize for that. Yeah, thank you very much for the follow. Twitch is Turbo and Discord is Nitro. Yeah, okay. I always get them confused because I don't have either of them. Like, I feel like Nitro would be really nice to have because I run a couple servers and the free boost would be really nice, but like I don't have it. Money's a little bit tight and I would rather, he will be good, I swear. Awesome. Yes, I'm glad. So, I'm always happy for, new followers and people who are interested in blacksmithing, even if they are bots, as long as they don't talk like bots. Oh, I forgot to flip my camera. Unless you guys want to watch. Maybe I'll do that anyway. That way you can see a wide view for once. All right, we are going to work on taking a little bit of the meat off of this area. Kind of flattening it out a bit on the flat of the anvil. And kind of smooth out that taper. So I think we are getting there. So I think the next thing that we're going to do is we are going to flip our piece. We'll put it in this side first. That way we can kind of isolate the material. So the thing that we're going to do on the next heat is we're going to hang this off of the anvil like so, and then we're going to start hammering, hitting directly over half on and half off of the anvil face. And what that's going to do is that's going to shove this fatter area down over the side of the anvil and create a shelf effect. So you've got a nice right angle going in there, and you know exactly where it's going to be, and it kind of isolates out that boss area. But yeah, so today has been a very productive day. We've been able to work on both halves of the tongs, and I'm really happy about that. We were really able to, really hone in the. We were really able to hone in the section of the, I guess the jaw section of the tongs. I'm really happy with what we've come up with. So as we continue on this project, what we're going to do is we're going to take the corners off of the jaws so that they are rounded out. That's the most important part of these tongs, is to create nice round jaws that you can use to twist your material into a scroll. And it's kind of like, using a set of needle nose pliers to kind of curl a piece of wire around. We want that real nice round jaw. So we're getting really down into the nitty gritty. We're getting really a lot of progress. So I'm really happy with that. All right, and I gotta keep track of my time because, like I said, I do not want to end on an ad because I don't think that's fair. Because I mean, yeah, that gives me a little bit more, a couple cents more income on my, for my Twitch streams. But I mean, nobody wants to end on an ad. So yeah, I want to end the stream just before that ad happens so that, you don't have to watch one extra ad. But yeah, like I said, we got about 20 minutes left that I'm going to keep streaming. And if you guys have somebody else that you want to like raid to, I'm taking suggestions. You got about 20 minutes, so we got to make sure that they're going to be streaming for longer than the next 20 minutes, so that you guys, we can actually successfully raid them, and I don't end up raiding into a raid. Righty. Alrighty, so we're hanging this piece off of the end, and I've decided that it's going to be this side. We've got to be really, really careful that we're not, sliding this all around. Because if we slide it all around, then we're not going to get a really nice crisp 90. We'll get a whole bunch of like little lines. So we've got a nice line forming there. We're going to continue going on that. We now have a little hook that we can kind of, specifically go towards. So we've got that nice little shelf forming in there. I'm really happy with that. So for the next heat, we're going to kind of like keep going on that. We're going to draw that down, squish that in. There's a little bit of meat that's being formed from the isolation, and I really want these to be nice and even and a good careful slope. So that is our next job. So if we can get those reins really good and isolated, or like the boss and the reins really separated, and get that really, on point, I'll be really, really happy. We'll be able to move on pretty easily and make sure that the two pieces, both sides are even and mirrored, and it'll work really, really well. So hopefully that happens. So if you look at these guys, what we're making right now on that last heat is this little isolated section here. So we've got this nice shelf that we've kind of made, and so what I'm trying to do is isolate, or is like kind of lengthen the section of the reins and isolate that guy. And so you can also see here that there is another shelf. So what we're gonna do when we're done with this side is we're gonna flip it over, and we're kind of gonna, move our rounded section, our jaws upward, so that the two meet. So we've got kind of like this sort of shape with the individual like side of the tong. This is the shape that we're trying to get. We've got a nice flat area along the spine, and a drop for the jaws, and they're isolated on the back end for that boss. So that's what we're going to keep working on here. And then we're actually gonna start taking a look at the boss section itself. We have to start like really isolating that section. So if you look at the other set of tongs, or like the set that my friend made, he's kind of got like another shelf that's kind of right there. And so we're gonna start looking at this section here. So in order to do that, we're kind of gonna, bring the tongs out like this over top of the anvil, and we'll shelf that area right there so that it ends right there. So we've got a few more minutes to go. I think we're going to get a really good amount of work in. Like I said, on Wednesday, we're going to have to put in the effort for the other set, or like the other side of the tongs. We're going to have to really, bring in and taper out the, this back edge of the boss so that we've got plenty of space. And we'll end up getting more length. So that's going to be our Wednesday problem. And then from there, we're just going to keep moving, keep on moving. I keep messing with my lav mic. Hopefully it's not too annoying. Alrighty. I think, yeah, we probably got about 10 minutes or so left on the stream. I don't know that I want to go beyond the set of ads. Like ordinarily, I would totally go beyond the set of ads, but I think if I do that, I'll have to change my propane tank, and it would take about as long to change the propane tank as I would be, adding additionally to the stream. So I think, like I said, I think I got about 10 minutes. So I will think about who we want to raid. And I want to thank you all for joining me today. I've had a lot of fun talking to you guys. It's been so soothing just getting back out into the shop, and just making anything. It's been a blast, trying to internalize and kind of make my, new set of tongs. Make sure that I apply everything that I've learned in the years that it's taken me to, try this project again. Thank you for the follows, and thank you for the instance, or like the interest. All right. And I think we got time for maybe one more heat. Ooh, Want to see something different? There's a lady adding tuft to a rug with a handheld sewing machine. It's not workshop stuff, but it's crafty. I mean, I think that rug tufting is really interesting. It's not something that I normally think to raid off to, but if you guys are interested in seeing rug tufting, you know, I'm interested. Warrior 5785. How long does it take to be good enough to earn money on this job? So it's kind of going to differ by blacksmith. You know, everybody, you know, starts making money at a different point. I know some beginner blacksmiths that can actually start making money almost immediately by doing more simplistic projects. Like you can make really good money just by making nails. So nails are really, really easy to make. So it's basically you take a really small stick and then you just like draw down a nail and then you cut it off and stick it in a nail header and hit it a couple times and you're done. You can make a minute or like a nail a minute. And you can make really good money doing that, even as a novice, you know, as long as you've got like a good couple jigs and you've got that, you know, rhythm going, you can make a decent amount of money just making custom nails. You can also make hooks. Hooks are really easy projects. Leaves are really easy projects. They also sell. You can charge, you know, somewhere between $5 and $20 for each of those things. I mean, you can make money almost immediately. The longer you've been doing it, the more money you can make. But it's kind of like just, you know, like streaming. It's kind of like you have to luck into a client who likes your work. It's kind of like you just keep working and working hard and improving your craft, and eventually someone will see you. It's kind of just keep working hard, and, you know, sometime you'll luck out. And eventually you'll just get so skilled that somebody will have to see your work. And that's kind of, you know, like how how most of my friends have gotten where they are. I'm just talking about small money. Oh, wow. I am late to learn at 30 years old. Psh, I'm 38. I'll be 39 this year, you know? I started blacksmithing about 10 or 15 years ago. I took a break for about 5 years. I'm a little bit rusty because of it. I mean, I know guys who learn blacksmithing in their 50s. You're never too late to start a business. You're never too late to learn something. You know, if it's your dream, go for it. Thank you for explaining in detail. Yeah, you're welcome. If you can swing a hammer, it's never too late. Yes, I mean, it's never too late. You know, right now I am really getting back into the swing of blacksmithing because I've been sick for the past 5 years, and I can only blacksmith for about 3 hours in a session, and then I have to take a break. So I'm, you know, for a day. So I mean, I am chronically ill and I'm still blacksmithing. So I mean, if I can do it, anybody can do it. One more heat, guys. One more heat. that's what it kind of reminds me of, like a finger pointing. So we'll need to move this guy onto this side over here. We'll need to squish this in so it's a lot skinnier. And then we will need to continue, making this taper a little bit more even and skinnier. It's a little bit too long, so we'll chop that off around here. And we'll continue on the other side as well. So thank you all for joining me. It has been a blast. All right. Do we take bets if this on if it's actually the last heat? I know, like usually I say this is the last heat and it's not, but this time I think I need to end the stream. As a blacksmith, can you literally do anything you want, like armors and swords if you want to do, or do you need some legal papers for that sort of thing? I'm I'm curious about that. Even if I don't sell swords, I can still make one. That is 100% going to have to, I cannot answer that question because I have viewers in Germany. I have viewers in, Denmark. I have viewers from Sweden, from England. I don't know the laws in the European Union. I only know the laws in the United States. So in my area, I don't have to have a permit to make weaponry. But I mean, I live in the US, so the US is very, very lenient on their weapon policy. So you'll need to look into your local governmental agencies. Yeah, it's going to depend on where you live. So yeah, I can't really give you a direct, definitive answer because, like I said, here where I live, I don't have to have a permit. I can make whatever I want. But I mean, I know that in Great Britain, the entirety of the, I think Ireland as well as, Great Britain, I don't think you can make knives and things like that. I think that's against the law. So, like, it varies from place to place. So, yeah. I must move there, I guess. Yeah. So, yeah. I need to raid off and end the stream. So, thank you all for joining us. Thank you for the follows. Warrior5785 and Pooji888. Thank you so much for those follows. Let's see. What's the name of that rug tufter that you guys were talking about? Was that Mahalo? Sorry, they just rated out to you. Okay, well, let's take a look to see who's around. Let's see, I have a Fool's Endeavor domino. I'm not sure what that is. Kind of looks like they're making a stuffed banana. Oh, Johnson's up. Okay, let's rate Johnson. How about that? Do you guys want to rate Johnson? He is a knife maker. Thank you for all the info too. It was a nice stream. I enjoyed it a lot. Well, I'm so glad. Thank you so much for joining me. I think I'm gonna raid off to Johnson. He is a knife maker, and you can continue asking questions about, blacksmithing and knife making and stuff. He is a great source of information about that too. Sometimes he's, gets a little bit, yeah, he's pretty chatty. So we will start this raid. If my stuff will let me do it. There we go. Looks like we are. All right, cool. All righty. See you later, guys. All right, did I get that rated? Maybe that raid didn't go through. Let's try that again. Start raid. Did it go? You are already raiding Johnson. Okay. Raid now. Okay, cool.